Hi there. Today we're going to study the story of Deborah, which is told in the book of Judges, chapter 4. Now, if you recall, during the time of Judges, there was a continuous cycle we see repeatedly of the people of Israel sinning in the sight of God, being allowed to suffer, crying out from suffering, and then turning to God, crying out to God, and God responding and saving them from their suffering. In the time of Judges, Judges led the nation of Israel, led the Israelites in a godly way. So this particular judge is Deborah. After Ehud died, the Israelites once again did evil in the eyes of the Lord. So the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, a king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. The commander of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. He had 900 chariots of iron, and he ruled over the Israelites for 20 years. They cried to the Lord for help. Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was leading Israel at that time. She held court under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites came to her to have their disputes decided. She sent for Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kadesh and Naphtali, and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead the way to Mount Tabor. I will lure Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops, to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands." Now, I'll tell you that Deborah means bee, and she is the only judge who is also a prophet, much less a prophetess. We have a woman in charge here. So Barak says to her, "If you go with me, I'll go. But if you don't go with me, I won't go." "Very well," said Deborah, "I will go with you. But because of the way you're going about this, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will hand Sisera over to a woman." So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh, where he summoned Zebulun and Naphtali. 10,000 men followed him, and Deborah also went with him. Now Heber the Kenite had left the other Kenites, the descendants of Hobab, Moses' brother-in-law, and pitched his tent by the great tree in Zananim near Kadesh. So basically he's turned sides. He's no longer aligned himself with the Israelites. When they told Sisera that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor, Sisera gathered together his 900 iron chariots and all the men with him from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Kishon River. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Go, this is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead of you?" So Barak went down Mount Tabor, followed by 10,000 men. At Barak's advance, the Lord routed Sisera, stirred them all up, and turned them away, and all his chariots and army by the sword. And Sisera abandoned his chariot and fled on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and army as far as Harosheth Hagoyim. All the troops of Sisera fell by the sword, not a man was left. Sisera, however, fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because they were friendly relations between Jabin king of Hazor and the clan of Heber the Kenite. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Come, my lord, come right in. Don't be afraid." So he entered her tent, and she put a covering over him. Well, this was quite the hiding place, if you know that for a man to go into a married woman's tent unchaperoned was unheard of. "I'm thirsty," he said. "Please give me some water." She opened a skin of milk, gave him a drink, and covered him up. Now, interestingly, Jael, her name translates to mountain goat, and she probably gave him goat's milk. "Stand in the doorway of the tent," he told her. "If someone comes by and asks you, 'Is anyone here?' say no." But Jael, Heber's wife, picked up a tent peg and a hammer and went quietly to him while he lay fast asleep, exhausted. She drove the peg through his temple into the ground, and he died. Barak came by in pursuit of Sisera, and Jael went out to meet him. "Come," she said, "I will show you the man you're looking for." So he went in with her, and there lay Sisera with the tent peg through his temple dead. On that day God subdued Jabin, the Canaanite king, before the Israelites, and the hand of the Israelites grew stronger and stronger against Jabin, the Canaanite king, until they destroyed him. So Barak, who had been timid and afraid, was not the one who ended up being credited for the victory, just as Deborah the prophetess had said. Jael is the individual who drove a peg through the temple of this commander who was hiding in her tent. She also atoned for the bad behavior of her husband, who had turned sides and betrayed the Israelites. With Sisera dead, the kingdom of Jabin was no longer a threat, and the land flowing with milk and honey had been saved by the courage and faithfulness of Deborah, and mountain goat, Jael. So 2 women working for God's good saved Israel, and again introduced a time of peace and safety. And if you have the opportunity, I encourage you to read Judges chapter 5, which is the Song of Deborah, which is a song celebrating the story just told. Blessings. Goodbye.